Good morning, everyone. It's Tiger, and today I want to share another story um, about the truity of military service. In Germany, they had a couple little training areas where you could do live fire with tanks. Okay, Grafenwoehr was our main training area, and that's what you call the section where you once you crossed this road, you were in a live fire section. And basically, when you go, the units would reserve their time, their weeks, and we would go up usually for 2 weeks. And we would get up on the Friday or Saturday. We would get things set up. And as a cook, we always had to be the first ones there because we had to set up and fix your meals, because no matter what happened in your travels of getting there, you wanted to eat, right? When it's dinner time, it's dinner time. So at this time, we were doing an exercise, and it was to start up after Thanksgiving. Each unit had roughly 12 tanks. So we had about 36 tanks in our battalion, because we had Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie. The week leading up to going to Graf, we called it Graf. So when we would go to Graf, the week leading up, all the units had to get their stuff on railhead, and then it would run up. For them, it was probably 6 to 8 hours. And then the next day, we had a crew that would go up there, and their job was to get this off of the railhead and get everything lined up, so that way when everyone arrived, all the gunners could simply walk up to their howitzer, get in, and take it back to the motor pool, because they had all these standalone motor pools that were designated for all the battalions when they come in. So in this case, because the holiday, they had a skeleton crew up there that would, we had, somebody had to be on guard duty with your equipment all the time. And we were up there for about 4 days. And so I think Sunday night, Monday, whatever, everybody else came up. I volunteered to go up there because it was really easy. We just fixed them 3 meals a day. So we'd fix 2 meals a day. They'd have MREs for lunch, or we'd have soup. And you just really, outside of that, you just got to relax and read, because we read a lot. We didn't have internet. We didn't have cell phones. So all the mechanics were in the motor pool one day. And remember, it was getting close to dinner, and they were in the motor pool, and they had a howitzer set up, and I don't know if they were trying to pull the motor out, but they had an APC, an armored personnel carrier, which they have all these, they have various support vehicles that are tracks. And the way they had it positioned, it was at an angle, right? They weren't head on. The APC was just cocked a little bit. And I don't know what they were doing. Obviously, it was something important because they were doing it. And what happened is they had the APC running, and this thing kicked into gear, right? And so obviously when it kicked into gear, it went forward. And when it did, we had a staff sergeant, but he was standing right there, and so there must have been 2 to 3 feet. Well, this thing went into gear, and it went straight into the howitzer. It doesn't take much to as a human, it doesn't take much. You get caught in between. And this guy, it literally came in right here and it just went right through him. You know, they spread the word around that there had been a death, and this was just something. There was, you know, when you get crushed by a machine that weighs, I don't know, 10 tons, I don't know. You know, you don't make it. You're not going to the hospital. You're gone. Once the ambulance had came and they taken care of business, everything was just left as it was because they have to investigate. And we were able to go in there with limits. And I remember going in there, and on the floor of the motor pool, there was this guy's blood, and it was still there. I'm telling you, and there was a lot of blood. I mean, this guy, it's sad. It is really sad. So in the Army, when it comes to promotions to your senior enlisted, which is an E7, which would be Sergeant First Class, to First Sergeant, which is E8 or Master Sergeant, and then to Sergeant Major, which is E9. Those are all done by Department of Army, and it's a yearly review, and you know they take pictures and they look at all your educational and your PT test and everything, and once a year they announce the promotion list, and you get a number. And so every month they don't announce names, they just announce numbers. So they're promoting E7s from 1 to 10, 1 to 20, whatever. And those people in the following month will get promoted. A couple weeks prior, I want to say in October, September, October, the Army Times, which there's Navy Times, Air Force Times, you know, and it's a weekly publication. And this publication is where you find out the promotions. So when that time comes out that they announce the E7 promotions, he was listed, and he had a number. So, and they give a date roughly when they're going to start working on this list. So it could be anywhere 1 to 2 years before he actually got promotion. But when you are considered, when you are giving, they call it the P status, you're promotable, that you are considered in that next rank for all purposes. So in all effectiveness, he was an E7.